I see the snakes in the grass, watch you spit all the venom. You stuck in the past.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, ImOnMyPrime, bringing to you a recruiting tutorial / tips and tricks video. I'm going to give you the rundown on how I recruit as well as how you should recruit, and basically just let you know the basics and get your team to the next level when it comes to recruiting, because last season, or my first season on my Ole Miss dynasty, I honestly didn't do too hot in recruiting, so I really decided to try to step it up in the second season, and now I'm doing really well. Surprisingly, I'm actually playing with a freshman quarterback in this in these clips. This is the second season, but yeah, we'll jump right into it. So when you first get into your recruiting tab right here, this is what's going to pop up. All your prospects are going to be there if you added some, but if you're going to be in the off season, which I am not, I am basically at the end of my season, so that's why I have so many commits. But first, I want to show y'all the coaching abilities. You want to check out this and look into your recruiting coaching abilities, but not just your head coach abilities. You want to check out your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator, because you never know what kind of abilities they may have. Because I just discovered recently that my offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator have a decent amount of recruiting abilities. You can see my defensive coordinator here, and these abilities are going to help you get a lot more commits by pursuing their interests, and it'll just overall help you get that bonus that you need when it comes to actions and get you more hours. So here we're going to take a look at what it looks like when you start a dynasty and go to your recruiting board. So it's going to start off with you just having an empty slate. You got 35 targets. You can see me, I'm already looking at some targets with this new dynasty I just created. Now, with a team like Coastal Carolina, you want to be a little hesitant when it comes to recruiting top recruits, because there's not going to be many top recruits that are going to want to come to your school because you're not as prestigious as other schools. So you really want to make sure that you are choosing wisely when it comes to your first 35 recruits, and you want to make sure you can get as many 3- and 4-star recruits if you are a lower tiered school. So basically, if you're a team like Ole Miss or Alabama or any team in top 2 tiers. With that being said, if you are a team in the top 2 tiers, you want to go after 3, 4, 5 stars pretty aggressively, but also play it smart. When it comes to recruiting prospects, especially if they're above 3 stars, you really want to look at what state they're in, look at the pipeline, and look at the interest. For me, my first thing I do when I start a dynasty is look at their interest and see if I'm in their top 3. If I'm in their top 3, I am going to recruit them, especially if they're a 4 or 5-star recruit. Now, if you really want to get some commits and get some influence early on, you really want to target those recruits that are in your state, in your pipeline, and in your interest. So if you're in their interest, they're in your state, you want to go after them, because these are going to be the ones that are going to accept your scholarship offer early. Now, after each week, you will have a weekly advanced summary just like this, and you will have a recruiting update, and it'll show the recruits that have isolated down their top decisions. It'll have a top 8, top 5, and top 3 update. You want to make sure that you are in the top 8 every single time before you advance the week. If you're not, well, you're probably going to get locked out within the next week or so. Now let's talk about when your recruit is ready to visit. When your recruit is ready to visit, it's pretty simple. It'll show you on a tab when you pull up your recruiting board which recruits are ready to visit. Go to that tab and you can go to the player, go over to recruiting, and you'll be able to schedule a visit. This one is locked out because I have already either scheduled a visit or I don't have enough influence on the player. But yeah, you want to make sure that you schedule your visits, because those are going to be crucial when you are up against other schools in a recruiting battle. If you're a lower tiered school, make sure you get those visits scheduled for crucial games. It'll show you on the tabs when you schedule which games have more influence on the player. Now, as you go through your season, there are going to be players that are going to give you a tough time, so you're going to want to just remove those from your board altogether if they have no interest. I would say if they're not in your top 5 or not top 8, definitely get them out of there. You can definitely influence some people. Just make sure that when they have their influence bar, make sure that they don't have too much of a full bar with another school, because if they already have a full bar, then it's really not worth it. I would say definitely try to work on making sure that your influence bar is up as much as possible. And by doing that, you want to go to your recruiting tab, select add action, and then choose what you want to put your hours into. Now, let's talk about hours. So you have a limited amount of hours throughout the season, and then once you get to the off season, you have a lot more hours that you can invest into your recruits. Now, during the season, just like real life, the transfer portal will be unavailable. So you will have to wait until the off season. But when you do get to the off season, I highly recommend you take a good amount of your time looking into that transfer portal. There will be a ton of good recruits that you can persuade to your team in the off season that can be crucial to your next season. Now let's go back to how you should recruit. In recruiting, when you are scouting, there are going to be gems and there are going to be busts. My recommendation is you can still go after those busts, but at the end of the day, you're going to want to get those gems because you don't want to risk it. Now, if we look at this picture, you can see that there is a deal breaker. You want to pay attention to these, because if your school is not going to be a part of the deal breaker, he will not commit or even have any interest. So when you're recruiting, make sure you have the right selections when it comes to the actions. For this recruit, I kind of decided to hard sell him because I'm only competing with one other school and we're kind of neck and neck. So what you want to do is line up what their motivation is and basically just make sure that you are choosing something that's going to line up with their goals. If it has a green check mark, that means that lines up with what they want. But yeah, overall, what you want to do is make sure that the influence is aligned to what you want out of the recruit. If you are competing with the school, you want to make sure that you have the max influence on that player. So choose the actions that are suitable for that player. You will unlock the sway and pitches after they name you in your top 8, I believe, or top 5. I think it might be you can sway them maybe a little bit later in top 5, top 3. But yeah, you want to use the actions that are suitable for you and kind of just mess with the hours. So yeah, that's all I have for y'all. That's how you recruit in college football 25. I'll have more tips and tricks on my channel later on, so be sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Comment if you have any questions, and if you have any 4 or 5 star recruits that you've landed that are pretty cool, drop them below. I myself actually landed a recruit with 100 speed, which I think is insane. I didn't even know that existed. Anyway, if you liked the video at all, please give it a like, or if this video was helpful in any way, make sure you hit that like button. Stay tuned for more tips and tricks like this. Next video, I think I'm going to go over some plays that I found to be pretty you could say glitchy, but you could also say strategized, well thought out. A lot of words for it. But yeah, it's been your boy on my prime, and I hope y'all have a great day and even better weekend.